Hello, welcome back to MJ's Mystical Tarot. Today is part 2 of my Jacko Sullivan tarot read, so I will link part 1 in the description below in case you didn't see it. The reason I'm filming this as a part 2 is because at the end of his read, I pulled some dice, and I've never worked with dice before as far as dice divination goes, so I wanted to look up the meanings of it before I actually did a reading on it. So I decided to do it as a separate video. So the first one I will do will be these 3 here, which are the astrological dice. And the dice represent the planets, numbers, and of course the astrological signs. So I gotta make sure I get the right signs here. So the planet is Neptune. We have number 1, and then the sign is Pisces. So, with that in mind, what it means for Neptune represents intuition, mysticism, dreams, delusion, imagination, confusion, psychic receptivity, inspiration, deceit, guilt, addictions, vulnerability, music, memories, photography, spirituality, idealism. It governs the feet, toes, body fluids, and pineal gland, and overall immune system. I'll get to how I feel this ties into his reading at the end, just so you know that. And then for the astrological sign, it was Pisces. And Pisces represents dreamy, mystical, intuitive, spiritual, compassionate, sensitive, escapist, addictions, creativity, romance, music, romantic, self-pitying, fantasies, psychic, introspective, charitable, artistic, old souls, sickness, self-undoing, self-sacrificing, and savior. And number 1 represents the first house: self, personal life, appearance, independence, individuality, new beginnings, the body, first impressions, attitude, identity, approach to life, and how you view the world. So putting this together with keeping in mind his reading, all I want to know was what happened to him. That was my question. So I'm picking up from all of this that somebody or multiple people involved were into music, delusions, so possibly some mental health issues going on, which also came up in my reading. I think they deceived him into thinking that he could trust them. When it says the feet, toes, body fluids, I'm wondering if that means that there could be evidence that might have bodily fluids on it that might possibly still be able to be found. That would be really fantastic if we could. I also think that this person has addictions. I think they might have had fantasies, romantic fantasies about Jack, and took it to a higher level. In the reading, I also had picked up on a stalker or a possible stalker. So I think that the individual we thought they were getting a new beginning had their first impression that they wanted Jack. They wanted Jack no matter what they had to do, and they went after him. And if he wasn't going to have them of his own free will, they would take him the way they wanted. So that I will put these aside just for now so I can get to the D&D dice and what that means. And I will link, my dice didn't come with a book on how to use them, so I will link the website where I found what the meaning of the dice stand for in the description below in case anyone is curious or wants to learn. Now, the D&D dice came up, And the first thing I had noticed was the 3 6s. Now, I will say this isn't the way they necessarily fell when I threw them yesterday, but where I wanted to read up, I had taken a photo of what my dice were. And they did not come up 3 6s right next to each other. You know, they were all over, but I did notice that I had 3 6s that came up, which was really, really interesting. And I will link the 2 websites, or the 2 YouTube channels, I'm sorry, for the dice casting methods I'm going to try for anyone curious. So that you can see they have a free book that you can download or go in and print off your own copy on how to use their methods. There's using it just as the dice itself, which is what I'm going to do today. I may do a second video. The other one is how you use it to interpret cards in the read. And I didn't take the time I ended up with some free time right now, so I wanted to film this while I had the free time. I want to look over my reading to figure out which cards I would want to clarify further using the dice. So I may do a third part with that. So the first part is just using dice and getting what that reads. And then their second method has a few ways where you can use it to clarify for just 1 card in your reading. You can use it to read up to 6 cards, or you can use it to read for just 3 cards. So if anyone would you prefer 3 cards, 6 cards, 1 card? Would you like to see all of them? Please let me know in the comments below. But for today, I'm just going to do what they individually mean. So the first one we work with is the dice 4, or the 4-sided dice. And that one was a 6, I believe. No, that wasn't. That was a 2. Okay. Sorry about that. I got to be careful moving them. So this one came up, and it was the number 3 that was in the upright position. That's how it fell. And I actually, I didn't know how this would land. I thought I was looking for it to land like this until I realized the way the numbers were. So I rolled this 3 times. The first 2, it came 3. The third time, it came as a 4. But because I had 2 as 3 and realized the way they land, I decided to go with the 3 as the actual number for his reading, just to clarify that. So the D4 dice, the number 3 represents the fire sign, spiritual, soul, creativity, and being. Then we go to the 20-sided dice, which has the number 10. And the number 10 represents the wheel, change, fortune, and serendipity. Then we go to the 12-sided dice, which is this one, which has the number 2. Excuse me, I have to use my reference guide here. So the D12 number 2 is values, which is ruled by Taurus and Venus. And it means possessions, security, resources, and sustenance. Then we go to the D10 and percentile. And I gotta make sure I'm getting the right one. That's the percentile. No, that's not the percentile. My apologies. Is that the percentile? That's the percentile, I think. I know it was a 6. Yeah. That's the 12-sided dice. That's 2. Did I say the right one for you? Sorry. As you can tell, this is very new to me. Okay, I did do 2. So I want to move that out of the way so I'm not getting confused here. So for this, we get 96. And for these, it's either 0 to 9, 10 to 19, up to 90 to 99. So for 96, it's amplification, culmination, and fruition. Then we go the D12. That was the D20. Okay, so that should have been the second one. My apologies. The D20 is 10. I am so lost. I did read 10, didn't I? Yes. Okay, so that's the one I need to move. I'm getting myself all confused here. Then I wanted the 12-sided dice. That was the 2. Okay. I'm on track now. Oh, I do apologize. This is my first time doing this type of read and my first time using these dice, so I want to make sure I am getting it correct. Then I would go to the 8-sided dice, which was a 6. And this represents the phase. And number 6 is release. So surrender, transformation, and liberation. And then for the last one, we go to the 6-sided dice, or the D6, which is for advice. And number 6 is for awareness, vision, perception, and discernment. So all this, keeping in mind what my initial reading was, is where we go to what happened. What does this mean? Does this help us with anything? So I do think that what this means is either Jack himself or one of the beings involved in his disappearance were creative and spiritual. I do get the feeling that they saw Jack as serendipity, a serendipity moment. They met him, and I don't think he felt the same way. But it definitely made a change because Jack is now missing. So what happened, we're still not sure. When it comes to the focus, the values, the possessions, security, resources, sustenance, I think this is where it lacks because they're not really looking for Jack. They did an initial search, but they've kind of given up on him in a way. And to me, I think this is him saying they didn't take, the law enforcement didn't use their resources to look for me. Maybe some of his possessions have been taken. Maybe somebody wanted him because of some of the possessions. Maybe they saw him as their possession. I do want to do this again with having it to represent individual sorry, I read the wrong one there, didn't I? I read values in this. Oh no, that's the right one. Again, my apologies. I'm still trying to remember which dice is which. So I do think that they saw him as a possession that they wanted to gain control of, basically. When it comes to amplification, culmination, fruition, I think things amplified fast. I don't think they were out to harm him. I think they wanted him for a romantic relationship. Or he wanted a romantic relationship. Maybe they wanted a one-night stand and things got messy. And I think things just culminated really fast and happened faster. And they just had to come to fruition, some kind of an end. And unfortunately, I think the end was ending Jack's life, unfortunately. So for the release, surrender, transformation, liberation, I believe that is Jack's soul being transformed, his body surrendering and being liberated from Earth, essentially. As far as the vision, perception, discernment, or the awareness, again, this is my first time doing dice divination, my first time using these dice. I didn't even practice this off camera. I just sat down and filmed this. So if you know more about dice divination and want to add in your thoughts or your perspective, please feel free. To me, I'm thinking that the person or persons, sorry, because I do believe it was more than one, I don't think they were concerned about ending Jack's life. I don't think they perceived him as anyone of importance. And I think the fact that not much has been done to find him and get answers, I think they see that as, he wasn't important. We can get away with this. We don't have to worry about it. But I think Jack wants more eyes on his case, more people talking about his case and getting more vision of what happened and where he might be. That is my intake from this. Now, if we combine that with the astrological dice on top of that, I think that, I know Jasmine from Jasmine's Crazy Cat Tarot, I don't know if I shout her out in all my videos, but it seems like it because she is my mentor in a way. I know she mentioned to me something about a possible DJ as being a person of interest, possibly. That is possible because I am picking up music. I am picking up creative. I do think there was drugs involved in some capacity, whether people were inebriated or maybe he walked in on somebody exchanging drugs and wasn't happy. I'm not sure what happened, but that is my initial dice reading. I will film another one in a day or two, probably, when I review my card pulls and figure out which cards I want to use the D&D dice for to clarify. Because at one point in that initial reading, I had gotten out a deck that I thought was a deck of oracle cards, and I wanted it for more for the images than what the words would be. Well, it turned out it was actually a tarot deck that had images on it. I still used it with the images. Then Jasmine, in her lovely comment, gave me an insight into what the actual tarot cards meant and how that, along with the imagery, how that might have played into the reading, which more or less still kind of confirmed in some ways what I was coming up with. It just, I was trying to see if I could find a location using those cards, but this helped more with what happened to him than the where. And maybe that's because my initial question was, what happened to you, that he stayed focused on that instead of trying to help me find where he is. So I would like to probably go back and clarify some of the tarot cards. I don't remember how many came out because he gave me several. So I will have to count how many came out and see if it's more than 6, how I'm going to do that. But that will be the next video. So if you have any input, any insight, anything you want to add, please feel free to leave that below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing if you haven't. I am planning on using Dice Divination more and getting used to it and getting it like tarot, where I get more in tune with what my intuition tells me it means, rather than just having to read up all the time and figure out what the book, what they say it should mean. I love having the guidelines from their books and stuff as a guide and to get me started, but I do want to be able to, like I do with my tarot readings for the most part, I'm able to go more on my intuition than focusing on, oh, this means that, this means that. I do hope to get into domino divination. I have a pendulum that I want to start using at some point. I have a beautiful mirror ball that I would like to start using for scrying purposes. I also plan on using charm casting and seeing how I can make that work within True Crime Tarot. I don't even know if Dice Divination has been used in True Crime Tarot before. So if you know of any channels or websites or resources where they use Dice Divination for true crime, please, please, please leave it in the comment or find a way to contact me. I would love to read up on that or watch a video or whatever if I can. That would certainly help me. But for now, this is everything, and I will see you soon. Have a great day. Bye.